I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
The FBI didn't just casually drop by Diddy's estate. They stormed in, full force, fully loaded, and whatever they uncovered, still under wraps, still classified, but it's huge, because this isn't your typical celebrity mess. This question mark, this is something far more sinister, and here's the part that'll send chills crawling up your spine. Jim Carrey warned us, long ago, before the headlines exploded, before the investigation started, before Diddy's world began to unravel. He tried to speak up. He used comedy, symbols, odd interviews, dropped cryptic clues no one wanted to decode. Back then, everyone laughed. Oh, Jim's being weird again. But now, those warnings feel like a scream trapped in plain sight. And if what he said was real, then Diddy's downfall, it's just the beginning.
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious.
Your camera's there.
You're so broken. I love this. Please don't get well. You know, because the movie wasn't shooting for another year. So he asked me not to get well. That's how this business is.
Carrey was the funny man, the rubber-faced legend, the guy with a laugh that filled rooms. So when he began talking about hidden powers, secret groups, and the machine, people brushed it off. Jim's losing it. Just another Hollywood meltdown. But what if he wasn't losing it at all? What if he saw something and he ran? The internet's blowing up with theories. Reddit's buzzing. TikTok's decoding every frame, clips, quotes, red carpet weirdness. Fans are connecting dots between Jim's strange behavior and Diddy's alleged dark empire. And the similarities? Bone-chilling. Let's rewind. Jim Carrey steps onto Jimmy Kimmel's stage. The crowd's electric, cheering, laughing. Then he does it. A triangle hand gesture, one eye covered. He holds it. Suddenly the room freezes. Laughter turns awkward. He leans into the mic. You know what this is. Kimmel tries to laugh it off. Come on, Jim. But Carrey keeps going. He starts talking about secret societies, elite control, puppet masters pulling the strings. He isn't smiling, and he isn't joking. At the time, most of us waved it off. Just a publicity stunt. But now that Diddy's parties are under the microscope, everything feels different. Because those weren't just Hollywood gatherings, they were exclusive, private, locked down. Guests signed NDA agreements, gave up phones, no press. And what happened behind those walls? Only a few have dared to speak. Their accounts, chilling. Stories of manipulation, fear, control.
We in America are misinformed. Reality shows have warped our idea of what a hero is, or what the truth is. So tonight, I'd like to dedicate this award to those who remind us of our virtues, who remind us of the truth, who Sir Charles Chaplin battled McCarthyism into exile.
Some say they saw things they wish they could forget. Others claim they were warned to stay silent or face consequences. And where was Jim Carrey in all this? Nowhere. He was reportedly invited, but he refused to attend. Why? Because in his words, I just want to stay clean. I don't want to be part of the machine. Back then, it sounded like spiritual fluff, a rich actor going through a philosophical phase. But maybe it was a red flag, a man dodging a dangerous trap. Jim Carrey was one of the biggest stars on earth. The Mask, Liar Liar, Bruce Almighty. Then he vanished. No scandals, no cancellations. Just silence. He didn't fall off. He stepped away. And some believe it wasn't voluntary, that he was forced out because he knew too much. And now, with Diddy's empire under federal scrutiny, those warnings look less like rants and more like truth bombs. So here's the question. What does Jim Carrey really know? Some unverified sources online suggest his name might be in sealed FBI files. Not as a suspect, but as a witness. Someone with insight, someone who saw something and left before it could destroy him. And now, every time people rewatch his old interviews, it hits differently. That one moment on the red carpet. A reporter asks why he's there. He answers, "There's no meaning to any of this. None of this is real." She chuckles nervously. He doesn't. He says it again, slower, colder. This isn't real.
To Christopher Steele, who tried to pull a thorn out of the paw of an ungrateful beast. To Christine Blasey Ford, to Colin Kaepernick. He'll stand for the anthem when the anthem stands for him.
It wasn't a joke. It was a message. Another time, Carrey says, "We don't matter. We're not who we think we are. We're being tricked." Tricked by what? By who? Back then, sounded like nonsense. Now, it sounds like a man who looked behind the curtain and didn't like what he saw. He once called Hollywood a game, one that's run by people we'll never see. And just when you think the mystery ends, it dives even deeper. He described fame as a trap, a setup where stars get built up, praised, adored, only to be crushed when they get too curious. Brendan Fraser, Britney Spears, Kanye West, different stories, same silence. And maybe Jim Carrey too. Think about it. Why would someone at the top of the industry just walk away? Unless staying meant selling your soul. Unless he saw something so corrupt, so dangerous, that success no longer mattered. Carrey didn't retire. He disappeared for a reason. And now that Diddy's empire is crumbling, that silence is screaming. Because, maybe, Jim already said everything we needed to hear, and now he's just watching, waiting, letting the truth rise on its own. Here's where it gets darker. What if Jim wasn't the only one? What if others tried to speak and were shut down? There are rumors, assistants, bodyguards, people who were there. They caught glimpses of something wrong. Some kept quiet, some vanished. The few who talked, brushed off, discredited, called liars. But today, people are finally listening. Because the system that protected Diddy, it's cracking. And once that dam breaks, names could flood out. That's why people are going back to Jim Carrey's words.
Is that a gang sign? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is.
Frame by frame. He may not have named names, but he dropped breadcrumbs. And maybe he left a trail on purpose. For the day, it would finally be safe to speak. And that day? It might be right now. What if all of this, the raids, the lawsuits, the leaks, is just the surface? Diddy's downfall may only be the spark. The real fire, still coming. Because secrets like this don't stay buried without help. It takes a system, a shield, a wall of silence. Carrey tried to break through it, without being silenced himself, and he did it with precision. Cryptic clues, strange interviews, sarcasm with serious undertones. Now that silence is louder than ever, because when the FBI shows up with search warrants, it's no longer a theory, it's real. Insiders are talking, former friends are flipping. And Carrey, he's nowhere to be found. No rants, no tell-alls, no mistakes. That's not random. That's calculated survival. Because when you expose a secret too directly, they erase you. But if you give people just enough truth to wake themselves up, you stay alive, and they start listening. So, when the curtain finally falls, don't be surprised if the man who tried to warn us was right there the whole time, just off stage, silent, watching. Knowing the truth didn't need a loud voice, it only needed time. But what if Jim Carrey never really left the scene? What if he just stepped out of reach? Because when you're no longer under their control, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable is dangerous to those in power. See, the entertainment world thrives on predictability. Controlled interviews, scripted red carpets.
Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower.
Carefully crafted images. But Carrey broke the pattern. He walked away without burning bridges, without any grand exit. Just silence. Intentional, eerie, strategic silence. And now, as the spotlight turns to Diddy, that silence is finally starting to make noise, because people are beginning to see a connection, not just between Diddy and Jim, but between all the celebrities who disappeared. What if the real story isn't about Diddy? What if it's about a system collapsing, one carefully hidden behind movie screens, record labels, and award shows? Because every time someone tries to expose it, they're erased. not with bullets, but with labels. Crazy, washed up, unstable. That's the Hollywood method. Kill the message by discrediting the messenger. It happened to Britney, to Ye, to Amanda Bynes, and now we're finally realizing it might have happened to Jim too. Let's go deeper. Carrey once said that the red carpet was a meaningless illusion. He said, "We're all just spinning around on a rock in space pretending this matters." People laughed, but those words were chosen carefully, because nothing in Hollywood is an accident. So when a global star like Jim starts speaking in riddles, starts turning down press, starts rejecting roles that would make him tens of millions, it's not ego, it's a message. And the message is this: something is wrong, terribly wrong.
I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track.
Look at the patterns. Diddy's name is now at the center of lawsuits, federal investigations, and wild online theories. But behind every big name, there's an even bigger wall, a wall of lawyers, handlers, executives, influencers, everyone working overtime to protect the core. So when that wall begins to crack, like it is now, it's not just one man falling, it's a blueprint being exposed. And here's the terrifying part. This might just be the beginning of a much larger unraveling. Because if Diddy goes down and people start talking under oath, the names that come out next might be shocking. This is why Jim Carrey's sudden shift matters so much. He was inside the machine. He saw it from the top. He played the game until he couldn't anymore. And when he tried to leave it, he did so without making too much noise. He gave cryptic interviews, made bizarre statements. He was testing the waters, seeing how much truth he could slip out without triggering the trap. And guess what? We weren't listening. Not until now. Because now, everything he hinted at is surfacing in real time. From Diddy's freak-off parties, to claims of coercion, to the eerie silence from others who might have known. It's all coming to light. So let's ask the hard questions. Why was Carrey never seen at those exclusive events? Why was he actively rejecting invitations that most celebrities would kill for? Why was he telling people, stay away from this place, don't get sucked in? What did he know? And maybe more importantly, who else knows, but is too afraid to speak? See, Carrey once said, "I've had everything, money, fame, applause, none of it filled me."
To distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know, when they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things and, you know, and you know, look at him trying to count it out. It's hilarious.
He didn't say that like a man who was ungrateful. He said it like a man who found out what it really cost. And when you see someone like that walk away, completely, no farewell tour, no cash grab comeback, no goodbye roll, just gone, you have to wonder, what scared him more than giving up everything? Because most people don't walk away from Hollywood. They're pushed out. And when they are, it's brutal. They're mocked, labeled, turned into jokes. But Jim, he vanished without a sound. Now ask yourself, how does someone stay silent in an industry that feeds on attention? Answer, they've already said enough. And here's something else to think about. What if Carrey isn't silent because he's scared? What if he's quiet because the time to speak is almost here? What if he's waiting for the perfect storm? Because with Diddy's legal walls crumbling, with more people speaking up, with public interest exploding, that storm is forming. And when it hits, we may hear from people who've stayed quiet for years, people like Jim, people who've seen the worst and survived it. So keep watching. Because the next big headline might not be about another party or lawsuit. It might be about a network, a system that's used glitz and glamour to hide something much darker. And Carrey? He might have been the first to crack that door open. He didn't kick it down. He left it barely ajar, just enough for us to peek in. And now, we're looking. Let's go even further. There's an interview where Jim said, "You're not your job, you're not your name, you're not even your story." It sounds poetic. But listen closely. He was saying, you are not what they made you. Because in this system, you don't get to be real. You get to play a role. And the second you refuse, you're cast out. That's why this isn't just about one celebrity, one raid,
I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
How?
One investigation. This is about the machine behind them all, the one that builds stars, then breaks them. And Jim Carrey might have been the one who saw it from the inside and said, "Not me. Not anymore." He didn't destroy the system. He didn't expose everything, but he made you start asking questions. And that's where the power really shifts, because questions turn into research. Research turns into discovery, and discovery turns into truth. And truth doesn't need a spotlight. It just needs time. We're now in that time. The internet has given people tools they never had before. Voices that used to be silenced are now amplified. Evidence that used to disappear is now archived. So even if Jim never speaks again, he already did what he needed to do. He planted the seed. And now it's growing. Every clip, every quote, every strange moment we once ignored, it all means something now. And as more documents come out, as the lawsuits pile up, as the world looks closer, we're not just looking for dirt on Diddy. We're searching for the root, the foundation, the system that's kept people scared, silent, and stuck. And once that root is exposed, everything else comes crashing down with it. So if you're wondering where Jim Carrey is, he's exactly where he planned to be, away from the chaos, away from the spotlight, watching it all burn. Because he knew this moment was coming. He knew the mask would slip. And when it did, we'd finally see what was hiding underneath. And here we are. So here's the twist that no one's talking about. What if Jim Carrey's silence isn't just protection? What if it's part of a bigger plan? A long game, a silent rebellion, a message wrapped in mystery? Because if you go back, way back, to some of Jim's older roles, there's symbolism hidden in plain sight. The Truman Show, a movie about a man trapped in a fake world where everyone's watching and nothing is real. Sound familiar? A main character slowly realizing that his entire life is controlled, monitored, designed to keep him in line. That movie wasn't just fiction, it was a warning. Jim played it perfectly, because maybe he wasn't just acting, maybe he was showing us what it really feels like to be a celebrity under a system of control. Because in Hollywood, your life isn't yours. It's staged, structured, edited, and every time someone tries to step off the script, things get ugly. But Jim didn't just step off. He flipped the entire table and walked away. And now, people are finally starting to realize it.
And to one of my friends, my good friends, and one of the greatest artists of our time, Robert De Niro, whose life was threatened also this week, along with many other incredibly decent people who bring joy to the world.
Let's talk about another pattern. Every time a celebrity breaks away from the norm, something strange happens. They vanish. They lose their mind. They get surrounded by scandal, even if nothing ever gets proven. Or they go quiet. So quiet, it feels unnatural. And that silence? It's loud. Because when people like Jim Carrey go dark, it's not just absence, it's a strategy. The less he says, the more we start listening. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Here's another layer. Carrey's art. Yes, his paintings. Most people don't even know this, but after he left Hollywood, Jim started painting, obsessively. Dozens of huge canvases, loud colors, big dramatic strokes. But look closely. Many of his paintings are full of emotion, chaos, fear. There's one with a screaming face, wrapped in red. Another shows masked people hiding behind grins. One even looks like a puppet being cut loose from its strings. These aren't just paintings, they're confessions, without using words. He was still speaking, just in a language most people didn't notice. Think about that. Jim Carrey might be the only celebrity who told the truth without ever actually saying it. He gave interviews where he said things like, "The universe doesn't revolve around your brand." Or, "All of this is a distraction from what really matters." What did he mean? What was he trying to tell us, between the lines? Maybe he realized that if he spoke too directly, they'd shut him down. So he switched methods, symbols, clues, subtext. And now that the rest of the puzzle is showing up in headlines about Diddy, it's all starting to click. Here's something wild. There are old clips of Jim where he's on set, in makeup trailers, joking around with the crew, until the cameras stop. Then his energy shifts. He gets quiet, reflective. He stares into space like he's trapped in thought. Was he okay? Was he processing something deeper than any of us could imagine? And then there's his spiritual journey. In recent years, Jim started talking a lot about consciousness, about leaving behind ego. It sounds deep, almost like he found peace. But some fans think it's more than that. They think it's code. That ego isn't just a personal idea, it's a symbol for the fake persona celebrities are forced to become. And when Carrey said he let go of his ego, maybe what he really meant was, I stopped playing their game. And that's when it hit him. Fame was the trap. The spotlight was the bait. And the only way out was to stop pretending. How many others figured that out too late? How many people saw behind the curtain and realized they were never supposed to escape? Carrey might have been one of the lucky few who got out before it consumed him. But what about the ones who didn't? What about the actors who lost everything? The musicians who vanished after one big hit? The models who aged out and were never seen again? What if Hollywood doesn't just make stars? What if it also erases them? And every now and then, someone like Carrey gets just far enough to escape the algorithm. Let's go even darker. Imagine if there's a network, a shadow operation, not just protecting the elite, but choosing who gets to rise and who gets replaced. Imagine if there are rules. If you play nice, you get fame. You keep your mouth shut, you get millions. But the second you question things, the second you push back, you're out. Contracts canceled, projects shelved, reputation destroyed. We've seen it over and over. And now, maybe we're watching that system start to fall apart. Because what's happening to Diddy isn't just personal, it's symbolic. It's the first domino. And Carrey, he's not part of it anymore. He's beyond reach. He's already told his story. And now, the world is catching up. He doesn't need to tweet. He doesn't need to explain, because the internet is doing it for him. Users are digging up clips, replaying interviews, sharing screenshots of his art. Suddenly, Jim Carrey's entire life feels like a warning letter we didn't read in time. But it's not too late, because the message is still there, and people are finally paying attention.